It's been really interesting as an American living overseas in a place that's a bit behind the curve with infections. For a while, I felt like I was living in a real dissonant sort of universe where everyone I know in the States was going through some real surreal stuff. And here, life in New Zealand was quite normal. Um, but then we sort of rapidly caught up, and we've been under what they're calling level 4 quarantine for several days now, which is a complete nationwide shutdown.
Wow, wow. And how has your day to day changed?
Well, mostly for me, I did not have a job at the time, so that hasn't changed for me. But I probably was going to the supermarket every day, maybe twice a day, going to my yoga classes locally, and just kind of getting out and mixing it up with my friends a bit. And now we are really in the house. Um, you are allowed to go to the supermarket, and they're encouraging it, and the pharmacy. Everything else is shut down. But in my household, we're not going to the market. We sort of were able to ramp up uh, slowly over the weeks leading up to this. We kind of saw it coming.
Mhm.
And so we've decided we're just going to eliminate the risk altogether.
And so you haven't been going to the grocery store. Are you allowed to go out and exercise or leave the house
You
that way?
are. You're supposed to use your good sense. They want you staying 2 meters or 6 feet away from anyone who's not in your, they're calling it a bubble here.
Mhm.
So the people in your residence are your bubble. So you can go out with them. I've been mostly going out on walks by myself,
Mm.
just because it's actually kind of easier to navigate the sort of physical distancing as like a single person than as like a phalanx
Right,
of
right.
of human beings. I'm also lucky that I live right adjacent to the beach, so I can just take a walk. They don't want you driving your car to the beach or driving your car really anywhere unless it's your local supermarket or the pharmacy or the hospital or something like that. So we actually probably, have it better than most. We live in a kind of sparsely populated country where our government is taking this whole thing very seriously, and it's in a big house by the sea. But I worry about the economy um, in general. Also, New Zealand is a very small place, so if your business goes under, there aren't loads of other jobs out there. And I worry about my family in the United States. I really do. I mean, certainly anybody older, but just in general, it just feels so chaotic there. Watching it from over here, where our government has like one unified, response, and everyone's getting the same information. At least you know that you and whoever you run into, you've got the same protocols. But in the States, just city by city, it's totally different.
What do you think the long term impact this period of time is going to have on society?
Let's just get to the end of this thing. That's
Right.
how I feel right now. I'm like, okay, I don't know what it's going to be like after, but I'm just hoping there is an after, because it kind of feels, my biggest fear is that it it sort of slows and comes back and slows and comes back, that
Mm.
this might end up being kind of a new normal. We've been living with over the last decade or so that what we used to think of as a 100-year flood is now a 2-year flood, and now what we're in with this 100-year flu. What if this is the same change? It becomes a yearly flu, or a bi-yearly flu, or this becomes kind of the new normal of these things coming through. And yeah, I'm not smart enough to know what that will end up being like.